Good Bill O'Reilly moment. Fuck it.
We're doing it live. No, but now we are not live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a surprise Happy New Year edition of the Square Table Podcast. And tonight I'm joined by, of course, Avandro. And Charles, once again, is becoming a regular on the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Stranger Things, I think that probably got watched more than any of the ball drop ceremonies or any of that stuff. I know all those shows started at 8 o'clock.
I think they did
it
on purpose. I think they did it on purpose. We're going to do this at 8 o'clock so that way, people can watch the ball if they want to.
Yeah. And so we all watched it, was all into it, and I'm going to dive right into the finale and then get into pretty much the last 9 years of our lives watching this show and kind of recap it all a little bit. Happy New Year!
This is a spoiler cast, so if you have not seen it, don't watch.
Spoilers. This is your time right now.
Now is the time. We're saying it right now. Look, it's coming down.
Yep.
Spoilers.
But, all right, you want to kick us off? You want me to?
Yeah. So,
hold on. Are those new
Yeah.
Is that a new headset?
No. I switch between my monitors and these.
Oh, okay. That's beautiful. Yeah. I like it.
This is nice, right? Yeah. Steel Series, sponsor us, please. So I'm gonna say I like the finale. Finale was great. It was the right amount of action, the right amount of emotion, I think. I think my biggest gripe with the whole show and just general, I'm gonna go with my general gripe for it. It took too long. The show took 9 years to tell, and I had a really hard time staying in the world, trying to remember that these kids are still in high school. And meanwhile, they're like well past high school age at that point.
Yeah.
Especially like in the middle of this season. I don't even know if they're seniors or not. I mean, what did it take 18 months later? So I don't even think they're seniors when this is happening. It's hard to visually get past that, but I think you forget that they're in high school because you've been attached to these characters for so long. And the time gap in between each season, I think hurts it. I think it hurts the show. Like, I understand, like, you want to take your time, you want to write, like, the story is there and everything is there. The acting is great. I was just like, I don't know. I felt like everything was just it took so long to get to here. And I want to say the payout was good. Like, I liked it, but I don't know. I was just like, all right, well, that's over now. Like, that's how, like, I felt. Like, I wasn't like, yes. It was more like, all right, it's good. I'm glad that's finished. It deserved to be finished. I don't know. That's my biggest thing with it. The only other thing I thought about was like, and it dawned on me when they're in the abyss, they call it. They're going against this literally gargantuan size monster. It's a bunch of high school kids with some knives going against some crazy kaiju, for lack of a better description. And I'm just like, the suspension of disbelief just starts to wane just a little bit. Because I don't know, the whole show is based on like this mystery and this like just stuff you can't really, I don't even know if you're supposed to explain, but it's always like this just like crazy thing that's happening in the background while these kids are trying to either live their lives or trying to investigate. And the very final battle is just this, instead of being like this like culmination of finish, it's just an epic battle, like all out warfare battle. Like, I laughed when Dustin and what's his name are underneath just poking it with the knives, and the guts are spilling everywhere, and I'm like, okay, I get it. And then on top of all that, not only are you fighting this giant kaiju, but there is this whole battle taking place inside of this monster. And I think that was really cool. Elle having her final fight against Vecna was good. It wasn't long and drawn out. It was very well done. It was to the point, and I don't think we needed any
Literally.
more than what was there. Yeah, literally. I don't know. That's me. That's what I was thinking about it.
All right, Charles, what do you got? What's a quick little
Yeah,
feelings about it?
I went into it with the expectations of a Game of Thrones finale, so anything pretty much.
I had
could've
higher
been-
hopes than that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just ever since Game of Thrones, I learned my lesson, So now, like, anytime I watch a finale of a series, I'm just kind of like, all right, let's just go into it remembering Game of Thrones, and we'll be okay.
You really
I,
been.
and
I feel like you're talking like out of PTSD. Like it's just like
yeah,
like-
pretty much.
you're like, damn,
pretty
Charles on
much,
that.
yeah.
I can't
Yeah,
enjoy
I'm
it.
like, I'm like, whatever it is, it can't be worse than that.
I can't
Like,
have
it
my
has to be
expectations
better.
set so high.
Yeah. No, I thought that it was. I thought it was good. Um, I don't know if we're getting into the nitpicky stuff now. I'll just give, like, I guess, a general overview of my issues with it. I do think
I
that
started
a
nitpicking.
lot
Go
of
for it.
yeah, I thought a lot of the emotional payoff was pretty good. Um, I like that we did get to see the end of some arcs with some characters, especially Steve and Jonathan, kind of putting aside their differences. I like seeing the bookend, which we were talking about that before we went live. I thought the bookend was great, getting closure for all these different characters. I think that was a good way to do it, and I like seeing that they're all staying connected and everything. You saw, like, a lot of development with these characters. Dustin kind of gets his revenge for Eddie. Um, Overall, like, it was pretty good. Now, I will say that there were some things that I was looking forward to finding out about that I felt very disappointed in. For example, the cave memory from Vecna. I thought that was just completely disappointing in every way. It's one of those cases where they they tried to explain something, but the build up to that was more interesting than what we actually got. And
Anticlimactic.
the second biggest criticism I have is the fact that not only is the explanation for this cave memory for Henry very whatever and just kind of non consequential, but I also think that they took away a lot of Vecna's agency. The whole thing about Vecna was supposed to be that he was like the ultimate bad guy, and that he was this Hitler-esque, Voldemort-esque character that just wanted to put an end to everything. And we thought that the Mind Flayer was the big bad, and then it turned out it was Vecna. And then they could, like, almost completely take his agency away. And it turns out that this memory he's afraid of because the Mind Flayer doesn't want him to see it, because it would mean that he's a victim as well. I did not like that. The making Vecna into a victim felt just completely a betrayal to his character. He's supposed to be the one making others victims. So I didn't like that. If you're going to humanize a villain, it needs to pay off. And we have this big revelation, and he just says it doesn't matter, and then just goes on fighting. And it's like, then why? Why was there all of this buildup? Why was there all of these questions just for him to push it to the side and be like, whatever? There was no there was no equal and opposite reaction to that action. So I thought that was a bit lazily done. And I
It
didn't
does
like
feel rushed.
and I don't like that they took away, like I said before, his agency. I did feel like that was a big letdown. Um, with Eleven's storyline, it actually makes a lot of sense to me. The decision that she ends up making, and I don't, unfortunately, AJ, I don't believe. I do think she's gone for sure, because they had ran through that scenario before, where they were like, we'll go to some other place and we'll get away from the military and we'll blah 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 blah. But, like, the whole idea is that that would never work. So then the idea that she faked her own death and then went and is living somewhere else and blah blah, it contradicts everything that we've been told up to this point, that it would never matter. So I do think that she's gone, but I think that it makes sense, and I think that she has to be, because, and I was telling my wife about this, Eleven would never be able to live a normal life, ever. Like, even if she got away, she would live in constant paranoia. She'd constantly be afraid. She'd constantly have PTSD, so much trauma. She would never be able to have a family. I mean, ever. Like, there's just,
I
it's
said just
impossible.
almost the same thing to my wife.
Yeah, it's just impossible. Like, and I think it was a very fitting ending for her. And with all the other characters, I think I'm most connected to Steve and Dustin, and I liked how they ended them. I like how they ended things with Robin, though I did feel a little let down that we didn't get to see more about Robin and her girlfriend's name, Vic. Is that her?
Vicky,
Is
yeah.
Vic her name?
Vicky,
Yeah, Vicky. Yeah, I wanted to see, because they kind of just left her out at the ending, and I was kind of like, where did she go? You know. But yeah, no, I thought it was good. I thought it was better. It was actually better than I expected. And I'm not talking about Game of Thrones level expected. Like, I was hoping it was going to be good, but it was better than I thought it would be. It's just a few things here and there that I feel like kind of contradicted previous things. So
I don't know. I feel a little differently. I am, overtly positive about it. I have the same trauma that Charles has, where I basically went into this with, please don't be Game of Thrones. That was my expectations, because again, very similar scenarios. Here's a show that, while I don't think it should have taken nearly a decade, obviously Game of Thrones had more seasons, so this timeline's kind of the same in terms of how long it take. Netflix.
Yeah, but if you think about it,
no, I'm just saying it happened because of the you tie in the pandemic, and then just the way
Yeah.
Netflix operates for whatever reason. I don't know. It's like, how are these just not done? But whatever, it is what it is. I'm not gonna harp on the fact that they go from looking 12 to 25.
Oh my god, when they show the flashbacks from the first season, like, or the
I know,
second
you're like,
season,
holy shit, these were
I'm like,
babies.
holy shit, these kids are babies.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So oh man, I just lost my train of thought. Oh, so back Game of Thrones. I was just, please just don't be where I want to be screaming at my television and throw something at it and just feel like I wasted a decade of my life on a show. I know that sounds silly or whatever, but I mean, if you
Do you feel that way?
No.
Do you feel that way?
No. I'm very happy with the finale. I'm good. We'll get into the nitty gritty of it in a second, but Game of Thrones was at a time, it was something that you can go anywhere, whether you were going to a kid's birthday party, a family barbecue, just randomly it
was very accessible to everybody.
Everyone watched it. Everyone wanted to talk about it. It was something that pretty much everyone had in common. And if you didn't watch it, I don't know what you were doing, but whatever.
There's a reason for that. I want to go into it.
Jesus Christ!
I'm holding my thought. I'm holding my thought.
Shit.
Go.
Get railroaded over here.
No, you're fine.
I just didn't want to have that again, where it literally just felt like this big chunk of your life that is just gone, because I've never seen a show where it was at the height of heights and then it just literally fell off the face of the earth. All those actors, like everyone tied to that show, is basically career ended. Like, there, maybe one or two of them actually has done some other thing. The writers, I'm pretty sure, were kicked out of Hollywood. Jon Snow has done what? Oh, he was in Eternals. No one gave a shit.
No, he's actually on a TV show called The Business or something like that. It's on HBO.
Yeah, no one cares. I'm just saying, like,
Amelia Clarke has done plenty of stuff. Jason Momoa has done plenty of stuff.
Amelia Clarke hasn't
Sean
done
Bean.
anything good.
Yes, she has.
Jason Momoa again will probably be the only guy.
Sean
Pascal
Bean was in one season. Same with Pedro Pascal.
Yeah.
Talking about like the long term cast,
but still
not the guest appearances.
Yeah.
What about Reek?
Thanks, Danny.
What has Reek done?
So I haven't. I was just hoping for not that. I didn't want to feel like I never want to talk about this show with my friends ever again, because that's what Game of Thrones. It was just like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. It sucked. It's garbage. What the fuck happened? Like, Whereas, you know, so going in with extremely low expectations, I liked it. You know, they like to play with your emotions. You had a couple more fake death kills again, you know, with Steve, and then obviously 11 with the Vecna dream, which you know, again, cool. Again, the Duffer Brothers really know how to like play with your heartstrings, and
They know how to
much,
mess with your mind.
Yeah,
is really what they do.
a little too much. I will say I'm definitely in the camp of I was expecting some kind of emotional kill that wasn't 11 because I think everyone knew 11 was gonna, like, there was no way she survives one way or the other.
I didn't expect that.
Again, anyone but her, I was like, I wanted somebody else. Like I for me, I think if Steve would have died and then you would have had like the I die, you die with Steve and Dustin, that would have been something incredible.
People would have
boycotted. You would have killed the boat.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I would have been so mad if Steve died.
Yeah,
so mad.
So you know,
Danny, you really rewatching Game of Thrones, man?
Oh, probably. Danny loves Game of Thrones.
He does.
But, I mean, the first 4 seasons, fire. Then you just nothing. It just died. It got
I don't. That's not fair. The 6th season's really good, AJ. That's not fair.
It is true.
That's the Battle of the Bastards.
Yeah, it's true.
Battle of the Bastards is one of the best episodes in the whole series.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I don't want to debate Game of Thrones right now.
He doesn't want to talk about it with his friends,
Charles, okay?
Yeah.
We're here for Stranger Things.
So
I feel like we're in a support group for Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I do wish we would have got another emotional kill, but I did love how in the you know, when they were actually killing Vecna, you got all those flashbacks of all the impactful deaths that did happen to all of these characters. So I thought that was really well done. That scene was fucking great, where she's just literally chopping his head off, and every swing is like someone else's like pain and what he did to them.
The wrong family.
Yeah, like that was great. I love the battle. Honestly, it had that very like old school Star Wars vibe where you had the two fronts. You had the big, you know, the personal battle, then you had the big, you know, scale battle going on simultaneously, cutting back and forth. I thought it was
very much Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, like the pacing was great. You know, so, and then I really liked the end. Honestly, I just
talking about the epilogue.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was very fitting to, you know, where the show started with D&D. It ends with D&D. And you see the next generation come in with his sister, and they all want to play. I just thought
that whole fight,
awesome.
by the way, while I was watching it, that whole fight felt like, Charles, I don't know if you play D&D or not. It felt like a whole D&D battle. Like, it is exactly the way a D&D battle would take place. It's just chaos. It's improvisation in terms of what you're going to do and how you're going to, if you've ever done a tabletop battle in D&D, sometimes it's just insanity. Like, you just do whatever you can with whatever you got. And it ends up for a great game. And in this case, I think the Duffer Brothers was like, yo, how do we make a D&D battle like epically real? Oh, let's do this. Yeah. Let's have a fight going on inside the monster and outside the monster. And that's totally something that could happen in D&D. It really is. It's just like, I was watching this whole thing. I'm like, this is right out of a fucking campaign book, like right out of there.
But I did want to touch upon what Charles just said about like the cave, because I didn't feel cheated by it, and I know this is actually a big controversial thing. The play that focuses, and I think a lot of people are pissed that have seen the play, which is on Henry. It is basically the cave, and it gives you a lot of that backstory, and it's canon to the show. People are pissed that stuff didn't make it into the show, and you have to see a play. So I can kind of
go to Broadway to see it. Yeah, I get it.
But at the same time, I didn't really feel cheated that we didn't get enough of it, because there was always that allegory to the cave. I think he brought it up in season 4. I can't remember the exact thing, but he was talking about, you know, he's going on one of his classic rants of nonsense, but you know, the whole thing was like, he was a prisoner that was so convinced of his own freedom that he basically just tried to put everyone into that. So, like, even though he is shown that the Mind Flayer is actually the one that did this to him, and he is the first vessel, and you have Will trying to kind of almost give you that sense that Vecna is about to be on a return arc, maybe help them actually win. He just says, nah, I'm good. Like, he helped me, I helped him. Like, he really does think he's free and that everything he created was him, even when he's shown the truth. So I just felt like that was his, like, that did actually fit his character and didn't go away from what he actually was. Like, he was absolutely convinced that what he was doing wasn't just to revive this giant fucking monster. It was, it was actually really his plan all along. And, he's just that insane. He's that self-absolved. And a prisoner to himself, even though when he's revealed to not be the puppeteer and he's the puppet, he just is like, nah, I'm actually, he refuses to believe it.
You don't think that takes away any of his agency though, as a character?
So here's my point.
I don't disagree with that, but
it's.
Go ahead, Vado.
I understand what Charles is saying, and I understand what you're saying. So, Charles, I agree with you to the point of, like, you're just using this as a moment to explain something that you don't have time to explain, basically. I like the plot point of, okay, the Mind Flayer is this entity. It's not just, Henry creating all these monsters and all these creatures. You're discovering that this is something else, something otherworldly. And you don't really get confirmation of that until that scene. And it literally ties the biggest point together. Why Henry has his powers and that Henry is the victim. And you're right, Charles. It does take away from Vecna's agency. I think it almost cuts you off at the knees. Like, you're getting all this build up, and they're just like, here. There you go. Now you have an answer. There's no build around it. It's just this. This is why everything has happened in this entire story.
Yeah, it's
because
more just
this one little rock.
Yeah, it's more just this was the twist. He's not the big bad. He's
so
the,
I'm also a little confused because Christina and I watched the entire series leading up to season 5. We rewatched the whole thing. So Henry, when 11 like blasts him through the wall and he's like flying through the void, he talks about, in what I think is the best episode of the entire franchise, is the reveal of who Vecna is. That episode is fantastic. But he's going through the void and then he's like wandering around, and he talks about how he sees that giant thing, and it's like the clouds that are swirling around, and then he uses his powers to make it into the form of the Mind Flayer. And he had drawn pictures of that exact thing because he was obsessed with spiders when he was a kid. So what I don't understand is there's a continuity issue here in my mind, because apparently when he was a kid he was infected with the Mind Flayer, or essence of the Mind Flayer, that connected him to that, and that's what gave him his powers. But if that's the case, then why, like, when he went into the void and everything, did he basically take control of this entity and form it into the Mind Flayer?
well,
You know what I mean? Like,
see, I think it's revealed that he didn't. I think, because the Mind Flayer can just like give you visions and all that stuff. I think it let him believe what he wanted to believe. You know what I mean? It just infected
That is a
him.
good point.
So he thinks he found this like spider-like world, but in reality, it's the Mind Flayer going like, yeah, I'm going to give you.
I need you. Yeah, I need you to make this
even like
something.
Pennywise. Like, I'm going to let you see what you want to see. And so now he truly believes that he did create the Mind Flayer, that this is all him. Meanwhile, it's just the Mind Flayer is just letting him see what he wants. I think the show could have. I think you're right, though. I think if they would have tied it into that scene in some kind of way, I think that would have had a huge impact to really drive home exactly what was happening. Because I'm actually planning on seeing the play, so I'm very curious how much real lore is in there. But apparently, it is all about Henry and the cave and high school and all that stuff. But
That's
I just
interesting.
think
I didn't
that
realize
if
it was
you,
canon.
yeah, I just think that if you try to handicap a villain that's been built up to be this powerful, then they need to be emotionally resonant, and they went the complete opposite direction of that. We were talking about Return of the Jedi earlier, and Darth Vader is like built up to be the ultimate badass and all this other stuff. And when he does show humanity, and when he does show, this other side of him, it is emotionally resonant, and you do end up feeling compassion for him. So the fact that they like showed this human side to Henry and showed that he, was a victim, but then he just doubles down on it, I do feel like they didn't handle that very well, because you could have just not had that at all and it wouldn't have changed anything, to be honest. You could cut out that whole sequence of like what happened to him and how it ties to his childhood, and it wouldn't change the outcome. Because if you have an event like that just in a narrative structure, uh and for anyone that doesn't know, like my education, like my background, everything is in literature and in writing. But like when you have a major event like this happen, it has to change things permanently. It has to create a metamorphosis in a character. And the best characters are ones that go through change. And the fact that you have this build up and all of this that happens, and it leads up to this explanation that we're all clamoring for, and then nothing changes, and it's just, yeah, whatever, that's that,
true,
let's
yeah,
just move on and keep fighting.
You're
I
right.
do think that
yeah,
was
you're right.
handled poorly.
That's why I feel like it's rushed. It just feels like they're just giving you this piece of information because they just need to answer it. There's
Yep.
no there's no payoff for it. You're right. It does nothing to change the plot line whatsoever, other than like, oh shit, that's kind of interesting. Like, oh, he is a victim. Yeah, but nothing changes. He doesn't change. The story doesn't change. And you're exactly right. The outcome does not change. And you created this whole thing of, well, he can't enter the cave. The cave is now a tool for the characters to use within the story itself. And you're thinking it's going to be this supernatural, like some kind of tie to him. And it is, but it doesn't do anything. It was just, I feel like it's just a writing excuse to put something there to have the reason why the villain can't hurt the kids. Like like you have to have some kind of story element in place to keep those kids safe, and this was their use of that, and then
And
they're
so you
trying to
travel
just
to
like explain
Broadway
it away.
and see the play.
Yeah, that's it. Go travel
That's
the broader.
that's the real hook.
That's the real hook.
I'm surprised the show didn't end with
Yep.
that. Buy tickets now.
Get discount tickets for watching this day one.
Disappointed with Henry's ending.
Now we
It's so
gotta
true.
go fly out to AJ.
Yeah, seriously.
Come on out. We'll go see it.
So Charles already said he doesn't believe. Avandro, do you believe
What? That
the story that Mike tells at the end? Do you believe? Is El still alive? Did it play out like he said, or you think what we saw is what happened?
I would have liked it better if you didn't see the clip of Elle and the waterfalls. I would have liked it better if you just showed the clip of Callie, doing her illusion thing, and then like that's all you get, because it's up to you as the audience to decide if it's real or not. Them showing the clip of her on the cliffside looking over the waterfalls kind of leans towards the real, like that is reality. I also don't like that story element. I think she should. I want her. This is gonna sound terrible, but I want her to be dead, because it just makes more sense for the story. It makes more, like what Charles is saying. She can never have any kind of a normal life because as long as she's alive and someone sees her, and like there's no way she's never just going to be like, oh, I'm going to move this little cup over there, you know. There's no, statistically speaking, there's no way. And I think the story is better with her because it also takes away her sacrifice. Like it takes away the impact of what she's giving her life for. You know, it's not that she's just giving her life for herself. She's giving her life for Mike, you know, for everybody in general. Like she's sacrificing herself so that they can move on with their lives from Hawkins, and they can, however that looks for each individual character, that's up to them. Like what that means moving on. Mike obviously still has this resonance that he needs to believe that she's still alive. You know, he's playing the dungeon master too, which is basically like you're god of that world and you decide what happens there. So him saying like, well, this is what happened, that's his reality, that's his truth. And if that's what he needs to move on, then that's what he needs to move on. You know. But
It's
I don't know. In terms of answering the question, story, like coming from a popular TV show wise, yes, she's alive. Coming from a storyteller's point of view, I want her to be dead. Like it just makes more sense for her
Well, I
not
just
to.
I just love that ending because either way it's ambiguous. There is no,
Yeah.
and I love how they ended it that way because it's like wow, what he's saying might actually be what's up? Oh, did we lose
Yeah.
Charles? Oh,
Maybe.
if you're
Charles, we can barely hear you. No, Charles, come back. We need your insight. He's gone. You're
Charles?
really choppy.
Second.
Mike, I don't know if I agree with that. Just because they didn't kill off any main characters, like I don't think that needed to happen. I mean, a lot of people thought they were going to be. And I get it. You hate ambiguous endings. To Charles, Mike says that he hates ambiguous endings. If he wanted ambiguous endings, he'd read a Stephen King book.
Wow. Oh, Charles, you're back?
I don't think they're
Yeah.
always.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think they're always ambiguous. His endings. I don't think so.
Yeah. I liked it because it ended on a high note.
Yeah.
After just this cast of characters went through a lot of shit. And
Yeah.
while I would have liked to see some more cast members go, and maybe that's like also the Game of Thrones in me, where you got so used to seeing main characters on the table.
Well, let me ask you why. Why do you feel like you needed a main character death?
Well, no, I don't know. Again, I think it's because Game of Thrones kind of set that precedent. So, like, again, it's just kind of, you're just kind of expecting that to happen because that became like the mainstream there for a bit. Was
the trend? It's the trend. You're saying.
But then, if you also got to think like Stranger Things is playing on the '80s, and if the '80s main characters aren't loaded with fucking plot armor, I mean, they definitely went to town with this one where they were just plot armor for everybody, baby.
But I hear what you're saying.
Handing it out
Game
like
of Thrones. You get plot armor. You get plot armor. But you're right. Game of Thrones did something unique in terms of basically telling you, no character is safe.
Yeah, like
if you didn't understand that. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you like Sean Bean? Oh, that's too bad. His head's getting cut off. And I remember watching that first season, and my wife and I are sitting there, and we're like, somebody's gonna there's gonna be an arrow that flies in or some shit. Hit the executioner.
Yeah.
Whoomp, head rolls. I remember seeing the credits and I'm just like, what just happened? Because to me, I feel like you're saying, AJ, every main character everywhere always gets like plot armor up to that point, and then Game
Yeah.
of Thrones is like, nah.
Pretty much.
George R. R. Martin's like, you like that character? He's dead. You like that character?
No,
He's dead too.
you want plot armor? Just watch season 7 of Game of Thrones, dude. It's like so much plot armor. Yeah, I don't know.
Everyone
I
is
don't
safe.
think that. Yeah, I don't think that anybody should have died. I think it. Okay, if it was something that was, if it was consistent throughout Stranger Things that main characters died, then sure, a main character should have died. But I don't think a main character ever died. It was always just like guest characters or side characters that died.
Yeah.
So the
Well,
fact that
I would
like
say,
no. Oh, I was gonna say too. What happened to Sarah Connor? Where's Sarah Connor?
yeah, like there's no
idea.
payout for her. She was this whole thing, the egotistical, human in this entire season, and she's just like, hey, goodbye. She had like 6 lines throughout the whole show. But like, like they did have characters like die out, but you're right. There's a ton of characters in the whole show that just disappear. Never talk to them again.
Yeah.
But like, like when Barb died, Barb,
Yeah,
moment of silence for
RIP.
Barb, But like she wasn't really a main character. She was just really truly an innocent victim. And I
Yeah.
feel like Stranger Things had a lot of that. Like there was just
Bob.
a lot of
Don't forget
Yeah.
Bob.
oh
Yeah.
Man.
So I mean, they
That-
they had a good. What they did really well was they gave you a lovable character of the season and
Yeah.
killed them.
yeah. Yeah.
Like, here's a new character. You love
They
him?
really
Dead. The
Yeah,
main
they really
cast,
did.
untouchable. But man, if
I
you were
thought-
a newbie, you might have been wearing a red shirt in a Star Trek show. That's pretty much.
I thought their parents were gonna really kick it. Like when the mother gets slashed
Yeah.
across the throat, I'm like, oh my god, here we go.
Okay,
It's
hold
over.
on. Before we go on, that their dad, right? Because this guy does nothing
Language.
He's gone.
all
he's
show,
gone.
all show. Then gets wrecked by the Demogorgon, and you never. The kids never give a flying shit if he's in the
Nope.
hospital, if he's alive. They never mention,
Nope.
hey, is dad okay? Like,
Nope.
the kids hate him and his existence as much as he hates theirs. And then, so I just found it so funny. At the very end, they just show a shot of him where he's still on the couch. And you're like, how?
Yeah.
I just assumed you died and didn't even care. But somehow you're back on the couch. I don't even know. It just was wild. I was like, holy shit.
So
I really just thought he was
Mike
dead.
brings up a really good point too. He said Hopper killed so many military personnel.
Yes.
Nothing. No consequences.
True.
Goes back to being chief of police.
Easy.
Military leaves Hawkins like, okay, no problem. We're just gonna pick up our bodies and go. Bye.
Barely
like,
an inconvenience. Yep. No.
Yeah. Barely an inconvenience.
I,
And like
yeah.
the whole scene where Elle's in the room and just snaps all their heads. I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, I find this like I have a problem with this. Like they just instantly kill all the soldiers they see, no matter who they are. Some poor
Oh.
bastard could be in the freaking, National Guard just working the weekend. And all of a sudden this little girl comes
Hey,
in and
look.
snaps your neck.
Look.
You didn't even fire a shot and you're
Wrong.
dead.
Wrong place, wrong
You're
time,
dead.
man. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I have this this running joke with my wife that kind of came up as we were rewatching the series, and it's about Dr. Brenner and about how he's basically a cockroach and he just won't die and won't go away. And I was telling her, like, dude, leading up to the finale, I was like, I'm telling you, Dr. Brenner's coming back, man. He's gonna come back. He's gonna save the day, And after the finale, I told her, I was like, man, I was so disappointed. I was hoping that Vecna was going to get 11, like, down on her knees, like about to kill her. And then Brenner would just show up, do something to Vecna, and he would be holding 11 and be like, it's time for you to get Vecnamized. Like, do some stupid shit like that.
Oh my
Like,
God.
Dr. Brenner, dude, that guy is definitely superhuman. Like that, he would not die, and no matter what they did, like I told her, I was like, he faked his death at the laboratory when they when the helicopter uh soldier shot him. Like he's still alive. He's still
He's
alive.
still
Has
alive.
to
He's
be.
still alive
So,
somewhere.
I,
Somewhere in
yeah, I was
Arizona.
disappointed. Yeah, I was disappointed that Brenner didn't like show up inside of the kaiju and beat the shit out of Vecna and save the day. So it's my biggest disappointment of the finale.
Kaiju Fanatic brings up he low-key assumed that the entire military operation was underground, unethical, and illegal, which is why the aftermath
Yes.
was buried with the whole thing. So like, yeah, you know that's definitely definitely a possibility and makes the most sense as to why Hopper and all of the kids were allowed to just whatever.
Murder?
Yeah, just
Murder, you mean?
no
Could
no
be.
repercussions.
Could be. Could be.
All right, AJ, super quick. This is my last thing about Brenner, but just came to mind, man. Tell me how you would have felt about this ending, okay? So, what if it turned out that the finale was actually split in two, okay? And this was just part one. And at the very end of this finale, Eleven's about to die, and then Brenner shows up, and it's just a silhouette, and they all stop and they look at him, and he says, "Papa's back." Cut to black.
No. Okay. Oh my god.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
I guess you really like Brenner, huh?
Or it was revealed Brenner was
I
actually
just-
the mind flayer all along.
Yeah, it was actually
I
my
just
flare
think-
all along.
Brenner's just a meme, dude. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's just so funny to me.
So
But anyways,
I want to talk about like some things that the internet has showed us in regards to this season.
I'm sure.
So
shows us great things.
when Will is like talking and he's confessing, how he feels about things and stuff like that. He starts talking about all these memories and things like that. And the one that stands out to me is he says when they go get milkshakes at Mavalda's or whatever it is. That's the pharmacy that his mom works at. They don't sell milkshakes there.
So maybe he was talking about all the milkshakes he brings to the yard. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, maybe, but like this goes into the whole thing of like, well, is his memory like all messed up, or is he seeing something somebody else is showing him? I don't know. It's the internet that picks up on these things, but then you go back and you look at the clips. But you go back and look at the clips because there's a scene in the earlier seasons where you see his mom, Hopper, like goes in to see her, and it is legit, just like a CVS. Like you ain't getting no milkshakes here, man.
Maybe
Like,
it was the store next to it. I don't know.
Maybe.
I got nothing.
Fuck up
I
with the writers.
got nothing.
maybe
Yeah.
it's just the writers screwed up, man. That's probably the most logical.
It's been
explanation.
10
Mike
years,
says
so,
Mike says
yeah.
the theory was it was in Henry's time. It was a diner or something before, and they used to sell milkshakes. So you're saying, Mike, is that it's part of Henry's memory that's just kind of a residual inside Will's mind.
But
Right?
if that's the case, why didn't any other of his friends be like, "What the fuck you talking about, bro?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I
That's
would have
true,
been that.
too.
I would have been that.
Nobody
first
said
friend,
anything.
I'd be like, "Hold up, I don't care about
Dude, we never got
What
milkshakes there.
milkshakes are you
What are
fucking
you
talking about?
Yeah, what are you
Like
talking
we all
about right now?
we all knew you were gay, man. Like
Yeah.
that's you're not spilling the beans. We all got that. What milkshakes are you talking
What-
about?
Yeah. What milk are there? What are you even saying right now?
Oh man.
Oh man.
But
yeah.
and that obviously that scene, got a lot of hate. I could care less in terms of like, does that bother me? In fact, I actually thought it was a really well done scene.
Agreed.
It didn't felt forced. I mean, they've been hinting at this for seasons, and
Since season 1, dude.
yeah, and it makes sense to the plot. Like he had to get this out because. Like it wasn't just like I'm coming out to come out and woo, it was.
Well,
if he doesn't get that out, Vecna's gonna keep preying on his fear that his entire family and friends are going to abandon him. So if he didn't get that out and witness that that's not fucking true, he wouldn't have been able. He could have got used again, or he would not have been able to fight Vecna, which one of the things that I loved about the finale was that whole like we are not afraid. You know, we are no longer afraid, and like no one is afraid of his shit. It was, and I loved kind of even the lighting. Like you see Vecna outside, that entire finale's outside. It kind of had like Freddy vibes when you pull Freddy into the real world, and like now the lighting's different, and like he just doesn't look scary anymore because he's just a dude in a sweater. Like, you know, standing in a living room, and you're like, oh, look at that fucking idiot.
What an asshole.
So, yeah, I don't even know. What was the initial question? I just started rambling.
No, we're talking about messing with his memories and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, dude, I was like rewatching the series, and even in the first season, it's mentioned from Joyce that Will's dad used to call him like gay slurs. Like the first season,
Yeah, no,
it's talked about.
Definitely wasn't a. If you didn't know that scene was inevitably coming, like, what show were you watching? Like,
I thought the scene was well done.
Yeah. The whole
it
took us 12 hours to film comments from the actors. I don't quite understand why that
scene
would
took
take
12 hours to film.
That's what they say, and that one I can kind of be like, why? Like, guys, are you all?
I mean, there's a lot of emotion.
You couldn't drum up those cries, like you were like.
There's a lot of emotion, and unless you've been in a situation like that where you are, you know, you're coming out to your family and friends. I mean, that moment I think was well done in terms of like the environment that they're in. It's tense. It's tense moving around outside of that bubble, but within that room itself, it seems like a very, like, for lack of a better description, a safe space for him.
I do wish either the brother or Steve would have at least like thrown like a funny dig at him to make it feel more 80s. Like, you know, just gay, you know, something like silly like that. You know what I mean? Like anything, but like, you know, still right after giving him a hug and like, you know, it doesn't matter, man. You know, anything. I felt like that would have been a little bit more realistic, especially considering the time period it's in. But, you know, that's the very. That had no impact on my feelings of the show at all.
The one thing I did like about that scene, it was actually used to, like, goes back to what we were saying about Vecna. So that whole scene that takes place, that changes the character, that changes Will. Like, he becomes stronger. His fears are now been absolved. So that whole thing was a great tool to move that story forward, in my opinion. Because I feel like a lot of the times when you try to have a unique character or have a gay character or something like that, I don't feel like that element a lot of the time moves the story forward. Like, it's just something that they throw into a show just to get views or get, you know,
very well done.
This felt very intentional, and it felt really good to see. Like, because now you're giving people what they want in terms of people want more relatable characters that they can relate to themselves. And I'm sure there are huge amounts of audience members that got very emotional during that scene in terms of, you know, having to have gone through that themselves. Even my wife was crying. She cries at anything sad on television, but yeah, she was like really emotional and really, like, you know, crying for that.
I think I feel like all the scenes with Will were super badass when he would like snap Vecna's arms and shit.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
When he became the sorcerer, it was like hell yeah. Like that. Kaiju Fanatic brings up: did Steve and Mike ever interact during the entire show? Charles, you rewatched it. Did they?
Do they?
Do they like the entire show, or just the finale?
No, just
the entire
show. I kind of don't know if they actually do, which is...
I don't think of a scene that comes to mind.
Yeah,
I can't. That is wild. That's pretty cool.
Because they're in the same house. I mean, he's almost dating his sister, for God's sakes, half the time.
Almost. He did date his sister.
Vaguely.
He dated they were like, that's how the show starts.
Yeah,
they're dating. They're dating for a while. Like, I even think they don't even break up until season 2 or something like that. I feel like it's much later on.
You got me. Okay.
Yeah.
How do I get this shit off my?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know either.
What'd you guys
But
think of
no,
that whole sequence where Vecna storms the base and all of these soldiers and Humvees are standing in a circle shooting? Did you guys notice that?
yeah, circling each other, how they're not hitting each other with the bullets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like they're all in a circle shooting.
Continuity thing. It's a continuity thing, man.
And it's like,
it's just a continuity thing.
military would they would never do that.
No,
It's like
it's absurd.
crazy.
It's absurd. I love the D&D, like, other than the names, like Vecna, Mind Flayer, Demigorgon, these are all actual monsters in D&D. But it's like the little nuances, like Vecna. I was telling AJ about this earlier today. Vecna has a whole lore thing with his hand. Like there's a hand of Vecna that takes place in D&D, and that's like his main thing in the show. It's like his whole left hand is just this different from his right hand type of thing. It was really cool to just it like I'm always I'm a huge nerd, and I love seeing all those different things that take place in the show that like point to it. And since this show has started, I've been playing D&D, and I've only been playing since like 2020-ish, 2021. And I knew nothing about D&D when the show first started, and then I know more about it now, and it's cool to go back and see all the little Easter eggs that they throw in. And they're not like, you don't have to be like a D&D nerd to understand everything that's happening, which is why it's really good writing. Like just calling 11 will return in Avengers Doomsday. Sorry, I could crack myself. Crack up. But that was really cool writing. In terms of like D&D lore, like Vecna is basically a god in the D&D lore, and I think that's what comes out of this character in this show. Like he has like a severe god complex. Like he thinks he is master of this world. And that is like very much to like the Vecna of like lore, like very much to that whole like just the whole god complex that comes out. The show does a really good job in terms of the little things that it does to write things in here and there.
Speaking of Vecna, how do you guys feel about the final Mind Flayer? Because we are Kaiju Live and we love our big Kaiju over here. How did you guys like the final design of the Mind Flayer? Were you hoping it was something else? Me personally, I love the design. I thought it was pretty badass. Although I was really hoping, because even though I don't play D&D, I know dragons and hydras are a big part of the end game when it comes to that. I was really
Depends on your campaign,
hoping
but yeah.
that all those legs or fists or fingers, whatever you wanted to call it, what are you doing, babe? Were like it was going to evolve into a Hydra dragon. That's what I was kind of, that if I was gonna had any say in directing it, that's what I was hoping it was going to be or would have made it be. But that said, I still thought the design was really cool. Like it didn't just look like, oh, it's a big spider. It did have a very Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle mutant vibe to it. Ironically, since essentially it was Dimension X, so definitely fits the vibe.
It really was a different. It was Dimension X.
Charles, what did you think?
I thought the design was pretty cool. I'm interested to see statues and figures of it. The only thing, if I could change anything, I would want to see more of a amalgamation of Vecna and the Mind Flayer's design in that scale. So like if the creature had kind of combined their two designs, I think that would have been cool. But that's really nitpicky, and I'm satisfied with like what I got. So
What about you?
So I like the design. I think it's cool, but it got me thinking about like when we first like hear the term mind flare, right? That was in, I don't remember what number season, but that was the season with Max's brother, where they're at the mall and, this giant creature thing with massive amounts of like arms made of like flesh and goo and all these things. I was thinking about that. I'm like, okay, well, is that the mind flare or is what we saw at the end the mind flare? Like,
Yeah, I think that's
which
its
one is which
actual
monster?
form, and I think
So the one
again
that we
it
saw in
was
the earlier
manipulating
season.
Henry to make it what he wanted it to look like.
I see.
It was just
Okay. That makes more sense. Yeah, that was more of a question for you guys on like how you saw that. Cuz like to me that it's just confusing. Like you're watching that season and you're seeing like this whole like giant creature thing inside of a mall in the 80s. And it's just like this like I don't know. Charles, you watched it more recently, so like you could speak more to on what it was designed like. Did you feel like that design was basically what we got in the end? Like, was it the lead up to what we got in the end? Or is it just something that was in that season?
I think that the design, and I'm pretty sure that was season 3. I think with the mall. Um, so I feel like that design is more of Henry's idealization of what the Mind Flayer looks like, and you also have to remember that it's not actually the Mind Flayer. It's like
Yeah.
uh, uh, it's almost a vessel itself. It's like composed of body parts and stuff. It's like the thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that that was more of how Henry idealized it, and how he like would manifest it into this world. But I do think that the designs are similar enough. I don't think that
Yeah.
it's like jarring or anything that they're like that different, you know. But again, this goes back to the whole what I mentioned before, where Henry like takes the clouds and he makes them into his drawing, and I don't know. So who designed the Mind Flayer? Was it
yeah.
Henry that did it, or is this
Yeah.
actually what the
Yeah.
Mind
Well,
Flayer looks like? Or I don't know, man. I will tell you
It's
one thing. I was not expecting that structure that looked like his hand to turn into a kaiju. That was
yeah,
really a good surprise.
it was pretty awesome.
am
Mike
I the
Mike
only
thinks
one?
it's the Thessal
Thessal Hydra?
Hydra but I don't think so. That looked like a straight up snake Hydra, if I remember correctly. So I don't think it was that. That's what I was expecting though. Like I thought it was gonna tie into that, and the arms or whatever it was gonna like turn into a Hydra. I thought that would have been awesome. But again, that's more because I'm like big dragons. So
I have not
I
fought a
was going to
Thessal
say
Hydra in
too.
D&D.
go ahead,
Yeah,
Charles.
I
I'm not
was
really
going to
sure.
say too. In just like on the topic of season 3, like rewatching this show. Something that really stands out to me is that like when they have good writing in Stranger Things, it's really really good writing, and a really great example of that it just stood out to me so hard on my rewatch was in season 3, because we were led this whole time to seeing Billy be a total monster, and it's like he is just a piece of shit. He's pure evil. He's abusive. He's controlling, manipulative, like all the negative things you can think of. Doesn't have a single redeeming quality, and he's easy to hate. But then there's one scene where he's at home and his dad is asking where Max is and he doesn't know. And his dad like hits him, and there's this whole shift. I mean, this like bipolar shift in power dynamic where Billy becomes the victim. And it's like within 2 minutes we got more character development in a single character than most movies or shows do across their entire runtime. And it's like that one scene made him go from being a caricature villain to a fleshed out character. And it was just like that really kind of blew me away on my rewatch. Was just like, well, now I actually feel fucking bad for the guy. It's like all this stuff that he's done,
Well,
but this
you
explains
humanized him.
everything. It explained everything about why he is the way he is. You know, it was just, it was actually pretty genius.
I was gonna say most of their, to piggyback off that, most of the characters that they created, like again, I know we feel cheapened, or some people feel cheapened by the lack of main character deaths, but every season that they brought in a new character like Billy or
Eddie.
Oh my god, Eddie,
Bob.
and Bob, like these characters, I mean, really hit. Whether you hated Billy's guts or you loved Bob, you either loved or hated Eddie, like they all hit, and they weren't afraid to. That was what they were going for. They wanted to introduce to you a new character that they'll rip your heart out. And I think that's where they succeeded, where the main cast, they wanted to tell the story of this gang of kids that just somehow, against all odds,
Save the world.
Save the world. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the only new character that wasn't from season 1 that ended up Max. Yeah, I was gonna say Max. And then I will say I'm a little disappointed we didn't get to see again any of her recovery. I know the 18-month time jump where it's just shit went down and now we're all good. But I love the way they went into it with I love Rockin' Robin. She's such a great character, man.
Maya Hawke. She's a great actress too. Wow.
So like I just her entire monologue on the radio was just great. Really hammering home how it doesn't even feel like the same place because it doesn't have all this crazy shit happening and everyone, people are leaving and this, that, and the other thing. So
I thought Max was going to be blind and paralyzed.
Yeah, no, none of that.
Nope.
Or like what happened with the blindness? It just like vanished.
That's what I mean. She's just
guys,
back.
In D&D, we have something called a long rest. If you long rest, you automatically heal all of your wounds and gain all of your spells back.
I see.
She had a really long rest.
Yeah, she hit that.
I don't know about that, fam. I don't know. She ate a sensu bean or something.
On top of that, how was she even allowed to graduate? Didn't she just miss like 2 years of high school? Because she was in a coma. Like
now you're asking more questions.
That's what I mean. Like,
well, how did you guys feel about the introductions of the sisters? So I know, Charles, you've recently rewatched everything. You have Lucas's sister's introduction. I actually, when they talked about Holly this season, I was like, who the fuck is Holly? Like, I had to go back and like
well, they did also recast her too. So
because the other actress was probably like 20. Yeah. This one at least looks like she's 13.
Yeah.
But I had to look up, like, I thought, and to me, I'm like, oh shit, she's not real. This is Vecna messing with their heads. It's like that season of Buffy the Vampire Slayer when Buffy's sister shows up, and it's actually not, spoiler alert.
Yes,
it's not her sister. Like you had to. I remember being a kid. I'm like, wait, when did she have a sister? Is this just like what they're doing? They're just introducing a sister into this season?
That's how we do. We just watched Buffy last year, actually 2025, and we're like, who the fuck is Dawn? Like, I don't remember. Yeah. Maybe she was living with her dad. Maybe.
Oh, dude, that's exactly how I felt. And then going into Stranger Things, opening the season up, I'm like, who the fuck is? I'm like, you're not doing this to me again. I know she's not real. Sure enough, she ends up being real.
I mean, Holly, though, like, they did lay some groundwork with her kind of being, for a lack of a better term, force sensitive, where, she didn't have psychic powers, but she could always kind of see the upside down kind of stuff happening or feel it.
Yeah.
So, but I feel like I thought she was a good character, man. Like, I didn't think she took away from the show at all. I think
Erica's one of the best characters in the whole show.
So that was the whole thing. I was going to say
that's Lucas's sister, right?
Yeah. Erica, when she was first introduced, I was like, ugh. I'm like, you're just gonna be the obnoxious little sister that always wants to get involved in everything.
She's
And
the
then
goat.
she ended up being one of the best introductions to the show.
Like when
I love
she
how
shuts
she goes
down
from
Murray.
like 3'5" to like 4'11".
Oh
like,
yeah, well that's
yeah.
Between her and Lucas, like their growth spurts, and I mean, he almost has like a 12 o'clock shadow that they clearly had to keep. They had to like shave him. It was just
It's like, no, you got to keep shaving this. You got to keep shaving this. Mike says Buffy was S tier. Sure, Mike. It has its moments.
Come on, man. Buffy.
I mean, it was great. I love Buffy.
Yeah, Buffy and
I love Buffy.
Yeah, the
but it definitely has some.
Times. They're trash, but
some early 2000s cliche moments.
Josh
but
Whedon.
No, yeah, that's Joss Whedon.
All right, so who would
talk about a fall from grace?
So if you could pick one character that you feel, either it's a 2-part question. What character do you feel carried the finale, and then what character do you like resonate the most with over the entire show as like this was my favorite character? Avandra, what do you got?
Carried the show, or at least carried the season.
Carried the finale and then carried the show.
Carry the finale, I want to say, I don't know. That's tough. That's a tough one because they all had really major moments.
Tough questions.
Yeah, they all had really, really major moments. I don't think one character carried that whole finale. I think Will was integral to the finale. I think, I mean, I don't know. It's tough to say. Like, I liked the moments that I enjoyed the most are probably Dustin's moments, because Dustin always hits you with that little piece of humor and that always that like jab, but at the same time, he's the one that shows the most emotions. Like when he's keeping Steve from going up those steps. I can't do this again. I can't die again. I can't have it happen again. And he just breaks down, and him and Steve have that moment. Like, just like, it's like, it was so, I was like, dude, that's like right there. Like that gets me right there. My favorite character of the show is Hopper. Because he goes from being this like beer belly, like police chief in this tiny ass town to taking on Russians. And like, you get that, like, I feel like he was the one that had the most growth on the audience, because he always had this backstory, and then you start to like, he's the most layered, I think. He, like, first you just see him as this like beer-bellied police chief, then you find out he had a daughter who died, then you find out he was in Vietnam, like, then you like, he was just, like, he was something special in Vietnam. Like, you go through all these things with him, and you're like, oh shit, this guy is not just what you're seeing. There's more to it. The whole thing in the Upside Down, when he's got Elle in the tank and you see the herbicide, so that's a callback to Vietnam, and that's like a thing. That was Agent Orange. Agent Orange actually affected males in Vietnam. That it has. I'm not a scientist, and I haven't read any like medical journals about this, but according to things that I have read, Agent Orange affected male reproduction, and specifically if they had daughters, it would lead to something in the genetics that would cause cancer and other diseases to happen more into that. That's why he says, you killed one daughter, you're going to kill another. Like, because he says, you're the reason she died. Like, and this second daughter will be the reason another one dies. You'll be the reason another one dies. Like, that's why he sees the cans of herbicide, because that's what Agent Orange was. It was like herbicide that we used to use on crops, and we figured out, oh, it could kill people. Let's use that. So like, I feel like Hopper had the most. He definitely had the most emotional roller coaster of the show. And I think he was probably one, not the only, but one of the foundational pillars of the show. That if he died, I think it would have had the most impact on the story in and of itself. I don't know if you could have had the finale without him, you know. But yeah, I can't answer you in terms of who would carry like the season or the finale. It's just it's too spread out. I feel like everybody had their key moments.
Charles?
So for the finale, I feel like Holly probably. I would say Holly probably carried the finale. I would even probably say that she kind of carried the whole final season. Um, I do feel like she was kind of the main character this season.
I
Um,
agree.
for the whole series though, I agree that Hopper has the most interesting background, but I think that Steve Harrington has the most development. I think Steve Harrington has the biggest transformation because he's a total prick in the first season.
That
Um,
is true.
and you know, seeing who he is in season one, and then if somebody had told you, yeah, he's going to end up being a babysitter, you'd be like, what? Like that guy? Yeah, no, he was a total douchebag, and I do really like Steve. Um, but yeah, I mean, as far as like carrying the whole show, though, I definitely would have to say Hopper. I think Hopper carries the show. He's the paternal figure, and Joyce is the maternal figure. I think those two are the real like bones to the whole thing. I think the most useless character is Mike. I think that pretty much anything could be done, and you could take Mike out of it.
Yeah,
Like seriously, like just
I
think
was
about
shocked.
every situation and take Mike out, and I don't think anything would have changed. Like he's absolutely
Uh
useless.
Yeah, he's portrayed as kind of like the leader of the group, but he ends up
it's
being
He doesn't
because
like
do
you know
anything.
why?
he's like Michelangelo,
He
but without all the good jokes.
but he does influence Holly, he influences 11 in terms
Yeah,
of how they make their decisions, which is what a DM does. What a dungeon master does in a D&D game is they let others make the decisions. He just helps guide them in the way that they can fulfill their greatest potential. Like it's not up to the DM to
Anybody
give you the
else could do
story.
that though.
yeah,
You're
Anybody else
right.
could do what
You're
yeah.
you
right.
know what I mean?
Dustin
Like
could do that. Yeah, like they.
yeah.
But at the same time, he did it.
But yeah,
He did it.
it was weird. I would say Mike definitely had the biggest down arc of the entire show because he, really started off as pretty much the main character next to 11 outside of Hopper in terms of just the kids, and then he just kept falling by the wayside in terms of maybe it was just because of fan reaction that they started propping up like Dustin more and stuff like that because of people just resonating more with the other kids than Mike. So Mike kind of just fell by the wayside. So yeah, I gotta agree with Charles. Like I was kind of surprised to see like he kind of did nothing in the finale
No,
outside
yeah,
of that little
agree.
talk with
Holly.
outside of the little talk. No, not even the little talk with Holly. The talk with Will going up the ladder, and then obviously
Oh.
the end of the show, the epilogue there. Like nothing. It contributed nothing. So
You know, I do think so. Hopper and Joyce are like the bones of the whole show, but I think Will is probably the main character. Like now that I'm thinking back on rewatching the whole
yeah,
series,
I agree.
like even 11 is more of a tool to get Will back. Like everything goes back to Will, and he's the one that goes through the transformation, right? Because 11 had powers from the start. There is no like like sure she hones her skills and she gets better, but it's inherent like from the moment that we meet her. But with Will, it's something that he has to discover and that he unlocks like when he needs it most, and he has to go through the ultimate metamorphosis of like being his true self and all this other stuff. So honestly, I think he's probably the protagonist of the whole show now that I'm thinking about it from a narrative structure.
I
Yeah,
yeah.
agree.
so he probably
That's a really great way to look at it.
That's who I was gonna pick
yeah,
in terms of like who carried the show. I was gonna say it was Will because of everything you
yeah.
just said, Charles. Like while he was a character again that you don't look at him as the main character, especially in the first season, because he's captured. He's not shown a lot. He's the objective. You know what I mean? So you don't get a lot of that. But over the course of the entire show, like it is like you said, it's all about Will. Not from the main character standpoint, but from Vecna's. Everything that's happening
Yep.
is because of Will. It has nothing
Well,
to
like-
do with 11.
Like you said, Charles, it's every good character has to go through a change, and Will goes through, I think, the most probably the most drastic changes throughout the entire show, and his, like, just the growth of how powerful he gets, his emotional side of things is a huge change. I think he goes through the most change in terms of
He
the
goes through
entire show.
the most consequential change.
Yeah.
Yeah, because again, I gotta give my boy Steve. Steve.
Oh yeah, no.
Steve really turned around.
No,
but
Steve
but
develops
Will's
internally,
changes.
I think.
Yeah, but Will's is consequential. Like Steve's change isn't
Yeah.
really consequential.
I think him
No.
becoming a baseball coach and a PE teacher is the best ending for him.
Sex ed teacher.
Sex
Sex ed
I'm
teacher.
sorry, sex
He
ed.
becomes a sex ed
Just
teacher. Yes,
absolutely
he becomes a sex ed
fantastic.
teacher. You're right. I agree with that. Steve does have the most relatable changes in terms of, like, growth. Like, he's the one that really grows from, like, peaks in high school to becoming, like, a real functioning, providing member of society. And I think I feel like most people can relate to that. Like, most people knew how they were in high school and see how they are as adults, and can relate to that whole progress, that whole change. And you're right, Will does go through the most consequential changes in terms of the story.
Yeah, that was
in
like you,
terms of-
Alondro. Like 9 years ago, you were Steve, and now in the beginning, and
Yep.
now you're like Steve at the end. You were a total douchebag,
Yep.
and now you're a great guy.
Yep. Now I'm cool. Thanks, man. You know what? I was thinking about it too. When this show first started, I
didn't
was
have
not
kids?
a dad.
Yeah.
And now I
Yeah.
watch this, and I
Wow.
especially like the
It's
scene.
crazy.
I got
crazy.
real emotional at the end when Elle is like, "You became my father, but I'm not your daughter." I'm like, "Oh
Damn, like why you gotta
Good
say that to him? man?
God, why you
Damn.
gotta say that like
I
that?"
know.
I was like, "Oh my God, it hurts." I'm like, if my kid ever said that to me, I'd probably be like, "Well, all right, I guess I'll
But
go
to get back to my
cry in
question,
the corner."
like while I said Will, I think carried the show. I think Vecna carried the finale. I think the actor that plays Henry is just phenomenal, and his ability
he's
to
really
go
good.
from Mr. What's It to Vecna, like that calm, almost Mr. Rogers, and then on a dime right into one of the, I don't know, intense death stares I've ever seen. Like that dude's got one hell of a death stare, and so I loved his backstory, even though I do feel that we got robbed of it a bit. And obviously, I have to go see a Broadway play to get the full effect. But I think he, from just setting up everyone as pawns and really being able to play that dual role, I thought he did a phenomenal job. And no one in this finale really came up short other than Mike, because again, he just had nothing to do other than complain that he got a flare gun. That was his big his big moment.
I don't know. I just got a little annoyed anytime that Mike was the center.
Yeah.
I was just like, all right, move on to somebody else. Come on, let's keep
All right,
going. Let's keep
and
going.
speaking of annoyed, was anybody else annoyed when Max and Holly are having that whole conversation in
Oh
the
my
Memoryscape?
God.
And I'm like, you should probably run. I'm
Run.
just saying.
Yeah.
And it's like this whole long dialogue that takes place. Even Eric and I were like, she was like, are they gonna run anytime soon? Like,
Yeah.
No.
Oh, we
no.
have these
We're just chilling.
these timed open portals where the guy, and he can like come and stop us at any time. But
yeah.
yo, let's just
I
sit
literally
down and
said
do a podcast real quick. No big deal. What
I
the
literally said to
listeners
my
want.
wife, I'm like, the song would have been over by now. Like the song would have ended by now. And your portal would have closed.
That's definitely for me, the weakest part of the finale was just the lack of urgency between those two characters while they're literally telling you the most urgent stakes.
Yeah. Everything is at stake, but we're gonna take our time.
Yeah, but hey, man, like, what did you have for breakfast?
Hey.
What are you doing later? And then, like, I love
What
how
are you doing later?
I love how Max is just like, all right, well, I gotta go. My portal's open, so good luck.
Yeah,
and then
so,
like Holly's
bye.
just fucking falling from
Just, yeah.
space. Like,
Just leaves her ass, dude.
Bye.
like, holy shit. Max is like, well, my boyfriend's over there, so peace.
I'm gonna go. Bye.
I hope you're all right.
I love when Holly's just like, my favorite line is just like, but I don't have a boyfriend. It's like,
Incredible.
okay, that's gonna
Yeah.
save you. Oh man.
Yeah, that was messed
But-
up.
All right, so let's close it out. Overall, out of 10, like we give here. on the square
This
table.
is not just the finale, right? This is the whole.
No.
The whole kid
Wait, this
caboodle?
is a 10-year.
Okay.
This is a 10-year review. Overall, as a series, what do we give it out of 10? AJ?
10 years of my life, I don't feel disappointed at all. I give this a solid 8 out of 10. I expect, when this show first came out, and I think if Netflix would have just got their shit together and got these seasons out faster, where the kids looked more believable, I think that would have upped the ante, or maybe the feels for some of the shit that these kids were going through, to not see them look like young adults, But yeah, this really, as a sci-fi horror fan, the amount of Easter eggs that this show pulled from, between, the synth music and the whole vibe of the opening credits, and
so good.
pulling from, the fact that they, pulled so much from Freddy Krueger, and then literally had Freddy Krueger on the show. I mean, you can tell the Duffer Brothers really loved the source material that they were working with, and obviously inspired from, to create this kind of homage to 80s horror. And I think, setting out to do that, they absolutely nailed it. Do I love everything that happened? No, like, I don't think it was a perfect show, but I don't feel like I wasted 9 years of my life watching it and talking about it. So for me, that's a huge win, and I'm gonna give it an 8. Charles, what about you, man?
So I'm super forgiving with finales that are like not, that don't blow me away and make it like the best show of all time. Like even Game of Thrones, if the journey is better, or if the journey can outweigh a disappointing ending, then I give it a lot of slack. So even with Game of Thrones, I still give Game of Thrones a very high rating, because I feel like the journey itself is worth it, despite the disappointment at the end. And Stranger Things has like it has its low moments, but overall, it was a cultural event. It was something that was on the front of everybody's minds, and I think that there are some masterfully written parts to it. My official rating on IMDb for it is a 9 out of 10. I think that as a show, it is completely and utterly iconic. I think that it is synonymous with pop culture in a way, and I think it's an excellent representation of nostalgia and the craving for nostalgia. I think the characters are so memorable, so easy to get attached to them. Sure, it's not the most original thing ever. Sure, it's got its flaws, but as an experience, as a journey, I think a 9 out of 10 is warranted. I think it's excellent.
Sam, man. Vondra, what do you got? Yeah, follow that up. Go ahead. Look.
Yeah, I know. No, I agree with Charles. I think it is a 9 out of 10. He's right. It is a cultural event. It really, like, it. First of all, you managed to tell a story in the 80s in such an 80s style. Like, I love 80s movies. Like, I'm a huge proponent of all those, John Hughes movies and things like that. And this pulls so much as it did from like a horror and sci-fi aspect, it pulls from that era as well. Not just from the music, not just from the aesthetic, but you have an ensemble of kids, every 80s teen movie is just an ensemble of kids or these coming of age moments. And this story was told that same way, but in a way for a modern age to digest. And I think that's really what makes it a cultural phenomenon. You know, people are discovering because of this show, people rediscovered D&D, people rediscovered cassette tapes. Apparently it became a thing where
Kate
people are
Bush.
searching.
Kate Bush, I was
Yep.
gonna say,
Kate Bush.
number
Kate Bush
one.
literally was like, because of this show, my song is now number one again.
She's like, I
Like
have money.
20, 30
Look at
years later, like 40 years later.
Yeah.
It really, basically, if you were on this show, it brought you up. You know, it was positive in every way. I think and you're right, it does pull on that nostalgia. um I think you find people are really like, oh man, I miss the mall, I miss the experience of the mall or the
Mhm.
arcade. You know, I personally remember going to arcades to play
Yeah,
games
man.
and
I
things like
miss
that.
Yeah,
arcades.
same.
And people, but like the three of us are saying right now, like, man, I really miss those experiences. You don't get that now. And I don't know if it's because it's a product of this day and age where everything's at your fingertips and you have this, you don't have to go out to go play Mortal Kombat on the arcade or, you know, anything like that. You could just download it on your PC and play it on your big screen. Now you can even get, you know, joysticks and different things to play. So it feels like an arcade. I think this show really taps into the whole like, hey, remember what this was like? Remember
Oh yeah.
what it was like to be around people and to interact
Yeah,
with
it's a
people in
time
a
capsule.
special way? Yeah.
And then
So yeah, I give it a 9 out of 10 for that. For that, the storytelling is great. The acting is top tier from everybody. Supporting characters, main characters, one-shot characters, like everybody gave 100% into
creature
every role that
designs.
they were
Honestly,
in.
I love the
Yeah.
Demigorgons,
Yep.
the
Oh
Mind
yeah.
Flayer. Like the creature
I
designs were
also don't
great.
mind that a lot of it was CGI because AJ and I are very practical effects people. Um, I appreciated those designs. Like you're right, those creature
Yeah.
designs are top tier, and I don't feel like the CGI hurt it in any way. Would I love
They
to have seen a
blended it
more
very
practical
well.
approach? Yeah. Would I love to have seen a more practical approach, especially to like the Demigorgon, like just to see the entire face open up in a more realistic kind of way? Yeah, I would have loved that, but I don't think the CGI took away from it in any way.
Oh no, I thought it was believable enough. There was no fog scenes like in Welcome to Derry.
I was
But
gonna say, how does it compare to the
no,
budget
yeah.
friendly episodes of Welcome to Derry?
But going back to like, how iconic it was. I mean, there was a good 4-year period where because of this show, every movie that was coming out was hopping on the fucking Wonder Woman 84,
Yep.
like for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Just like we're gonna,
No reason.
and the scene literally opens up with her in a mall. Like it was like, oh, okay, wow,
Yep.
holy shit, you're really trying to get
Yeah.
that crowd in over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this show was great, and my Mike in the chat right now is a fucking hater. He goes, I agree,
Yeah.
it should be an 8 out of 10, but my 100% firm belief is that this finale will be absolutely trashed online, and it will be thought of negatively. To get a
I
9
don't know. Mike.
as opposed to an 8 for me, the ending has to be we're coming on a show excited by what we just saw, not just satisfied with it. Yeah, you're a fucking hater, man.
Yeah.
But hey,
I
Damn,
don't
Mike.
know, man. If
Again,
99% of this show is excellent, then you're gonna let
Yeah.
that 1% knock it down 2 points for the
And
entire 9 years experience?
yeah, and again, I
Yeah.
didn't think like I did the finale. I think the biggest criticism you could have of it was it played it too safe.
Yeah.
It really didn't take. It really didn't really. Yeah, that's all I can say. It played it too safe. Like it had chances to really, whether it was killing some characters or diving deeper into Vecna, like Charles you wanted, or just adding some, really going out on a risk to make it to upset some people. So it played it safe in that regard, where obviously, like, if you were a mega fan of any of these characters, like, they all lived. So,
Yeah.
you didn't have to go to sleep crying or why, so I think, if anything, it played it too safe, but, sometimes it's better to be safe than dog shit, so I'll take that. I will take that. Game of Thrones will forever haunt me, for just, again,
Buddy,
Yeah,
we'll have a
think,
support
wasting
group to
so
speak
much
about
of
it,
my
right?
life.
yeah. I think I'm super critical on Vecna because one of the like cardinal rules in good fiction is that your villain is only, or your hero is only as good as your villain. So I'm just hypercritical on villains, man. If the villain isn't good, then or if they have like some characterization flaws, it really upsets me. So I mean, take that away, and I still think it was good though.
Yeah.
I don't have any like major complaints.
That's always been my issue with like the MCU. Outside of Thanos, their villains are garbage, and that's why
Yeah.
like I never really.
Do you know why
Hell,
Thanos is so good though? Like why he's touted as like the one of the better villains in any of the MCU movies?
because he
Because
was
he's
built
the
up for
only.
fucking 10 years, and none of the other villains
That's
did
true.
anything.
Because
But he's also
he has
the
a
only one
motive.
that is right. He has a motive, and to him, his motive is justified.
No, that's
It's
what I mean. Like
righteous. He feels like he's
the
doing the
only
right
villain
thing.
that was worth doing anything. Like all the other villains are just.
Are like,
Yeah, exactly. They're just mustache
Yeah,
twirlers.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever you're writing any type of villain, or really any type of character, my favorite thing to always keep in mind, like even in my own writing, is that everyone thinks that they're the hero in the story. Everyone.
That's right.
So if your villain does not think that they are the hero, then they are not a good villain. So they need to think that they're doing the right thing in their mind, and that
That's
is what
why
makes Thanos so great.
I love the Zod in Man of Steel, and that's why that's one of my favorite comic
Yes.
book movies.
Yeah.
Despite
Yeah.
having some gripes with obviously Superman and the way he's portrayed in that movie, but Zod, for me, more like just.
I mean,
again,
you
talk
could
about
list.
thinking he's the hero. Like he thinks he's
Yeah.
going to resurrect Krypton. Like
Yeah.
he's literally saving his people.
Yeah.
So
Look at when Alfred Molina played Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire. Like
Spider-Man 2
again,
still-
that's a villain that falls victim to his own machines and
Still quote
thinks
that
he is still creating this thing for humanity, to me, and this is why I think Vecna falls short. You never really get a reason why he's doing what he's doing, other than I am doing what the Mind Flayer wants me to do, and I'm going to destroy the world.
Yeah, he
Like-
just thinks the human race is pretty much done. Like he's seen the worst of it, and there's nothing left. So he'd rather
Yeah.
just try to rebuild it in his own image. That's
Yeah, but that's
again.
And Charles is going to
it's-
say it. Go ahead, Charles. Say it. Say it.
I was just gonna say it's kind of lazy.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Exactly.
I'm not disagreeing with
Exactly.
you. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, I just want to destroy the world because I want to destroy the world. I mean,
but
Look at
fine,
Thanos. Why did Thanos want to do it, right? Because he watched his entire basically his entire species die to famine and hunger and all these other issues because they were overpopulated. So it's like
Yep.
if you gave Vecna a reason like that to where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, I can understand if I saw that, when I was young and all of my people died and I watched it happen and I could prevent that from happening everywhere else. It's a sympathetic motive. It's something that you're like, is it really that bad of a thing to want? I
You know
mean,
what,
would he save more people in the long run? It's like
Yeah.
that
if
kind of
you
question.
have to
It's really
question,
dynamic.
hey, maybe Thanos was right.
yeah, put
like-
that on coffee mugs. That's my favorite
Yeah.
stuff in the MCU.
But I'm telling you right now, like if you have to do that, you've created a character like that is
Yeah.
going to live
Yep.
on. As much as I like Vecna as the things that he does, his motivation just doesn't resonate with anything. It's like, okay, let's save the world.
Yeah,
And that's really all you get out of it.
I do wish they would have brought the clock back. I always
Yeah.
I thought when season 4,
Ooh,
it was
that's so
season 4 when
creepy.
you first saw
Ooh.
Vecna, right? like really saw
Yeah.
Vecna. When
Mhm.
so like whenever he showed
Mhm.
up, you heard the clock sound, all that stuff. Like he was terrifying. And was there a narrative reason why that stopped happening?
It was
So this
when
is my problem. Yeah.
the gate was opening. It
Okay,
was the
so that
countdown
was
to
the down
that.
to
Like
that. Okay, so
it
that's why
was
he didn't
it
have to do it
was
anymore. Okay.
four chimes, four victims to open up the gate.
Yeah, because
That's what it was.
that was the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Like stuff like that, and this is what and this is my main issue with the show. It took too long to get to here that you forget little things like that,
Yeah.
like little Easter eggs that you add to this show that you want people to notice. They're gonna forget after 2.5 years between seasons. You know, you took 10 years to make 5 seasons. You haven't even hit like 50 episodes. It's less than 50 episodes, and it's you have these moments like the clock. Like I completely forgot about the clock. I also when I first started watching the season, I completely forgot that the giant rift opened up and split Hawkins in four. And it's like, oh shit, I forgot about that. You know, it's like
Yeah.
all these little things that you don't remember because of how much time has taken place.
All right, so before we go, I got one last question in the brief.
Mm-hmm.
Are you good with this, or because now there's rumors of spinoffs? Do you want the Stranger Things universe to continue? Because at the very end, they do mention going to Montauk, and if you're not familiar, the Montauk experiments out here on Long Island is actually what is the original motivation for this show. So, do you want them? Do you want to follow that team? Do you want a new team, or are you good and just want it to end? Me personally, I think I'm good. I don't want spinoffs. I'm satisfied. Charles, how about
I
you?
agree.
I
Yeah, go
I
ahead, Charles.
I think I don't want these characters to come back, honestly. But I think that if it was a spinoff that was completely independent and that didn't rely on the original series, it would be fine. That's my biggest issue is when you have these spin-offs, it's like so codependent upon your knowledge or your love for the other that if don't, then there's just no reason for it to exist.
Yeah.
But if they did a thing where it was like you could watch it and have never seen Stranger Things and still enjoy it, sure. I think it
Yeah.
would be cool to see a Demogorgon again. A Demogorgon rampaging in New York City would be fucking awesome. But it needs to be able to be its own thing, like completely separate, standalone, no connection. You can watch this and never have seen the original and it's fine. I would be okay with that.
I I agree.
Mike says
Yes.
that's what the Duffer Brothers say it's going to be, allegedly.
Yeah.
What you said, Charles. So that
Allegedly.
what's that?
Cool.
Is a what?
Mike in the chat says that the
Oh,
Duffer Brothers are have already announced that that's what it's going to be. It's going to be a standalone thing. Which I hope you're right, Charles. That's really the only way something like that works. It's only going to be good if it can stand up by itself. Like I don't want to have seen Stranger Things in order to appreciate and enjoy what's happening. If I have seen it, great, because then you get like the little add-ons. Like I know about D&D stuff. AJ doesn't know anything about D&D, but he still enjoyed Stranger Things. I enjoyed the aspects that I'm like, oh shit, that's really cool. Like that's a totally out of left field D&D fact that no one else is going to know unless you play the game. And I think it addresses like it just shows you how big of an audience this show reached. Like you can touch upon so many things and really hit emotional points for a lot of people. And if they're gonna do a spinoff, I'm agreeing with you. I think it needs to stand by itself. But in terms of this story and these characters, I'm good. I'm good. We don't need to see any more. I don't need to see 11 again. I think
Avengers
They
Doomsday
just
should be
give them
back.
a break, man. They've been through enough.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say something I thought about earlier. Just a super quick note. So all the people that like want to believe that 11 is still alive, it
I
really
believe it.
makes me think that we're all those people are basically like Hopper. Like you are Hopper, because she made her choice, wanted to end her suffering and be in peace and let her friends be in peace, but the fans are all Hopper, dude. They just won't let her go.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But all right. Well, this was good, guys. I enjoyed this.
Yeah, I
It
enjoyed
was
this.
it was good to unpack this show because
But
you're right. 10 years
again,
of my life.
we just came off Welcome to Derry, and now we got this. Horror's it's eating
We
good right
eating good.
now. This
Eating
is
good.
good stuff.
Yeah.
But thank you guys so much for taking the time, Vondro, Charles, everyone that tuned in. Happy New Year! Here's the 2026. Hopefully, that's a good one. I think it's gonna be, especially for this channel. We got a lot of good stuff going on. Charles, becoming a regular. I'm digging it. I hope we can. What's the next horror show coming out? What else? What do we got? We gotta have this something.
Look at me. This is on you.
Yeah, I don't know.
Have you seen From?
I was gonna say I've heard a
Someone
lot
just
of.
mentioned that in the chat. Is that the one where they're like basically trapped in a town and they have to like get into a church or a building to not get
I
killed
haven't
entities
read
outside?
anything about it or watched anything on it because I want to go in completely blind, but it is a show that I really want to watch. It would be interesting to unpack that. There's they're coming out with a new season soon, right? Like season
someone said season 4
Season
is
4.
coming. Season 4.
Yeah,
I think that is the show.
Supposed to be good.
It's essentially like kind of a Derry situation where like you drive into this town and now you can't get out, and whatever's in there is not nice.
It's in there. But yeah. All right, guys.
Yep.
Well,
Happy New
it was
Year.
a wonderful evening.
Have a great night. We'll see you Saturday for next episode of Square Up, covering Week 18, heading into the NFL playoffs. And I think, I think that's about it for now. Next week, we'll be back gaming. We have a new show coming out Wednesday, which I'll have more details on later this weekend. And so as always, like and subscribe and be on the lookout for more content from Kaiju Live. Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, guys.
Good night, dude.